Hello! Welcome everybody to the first edition of Beyond Banking Budapest. We are starting now, so please take your seats.
We're very happy to see such a large turn up today here in the former Tesla Club, quite a venue I believe for a banking event. We are very happy here that by Disruption Banking live from London.
Fiona from London, greetings from Budapest.
So it's an interesting combination of a challenger bank, a fintech, and a really strong 200 years old bank with a huge brand behind it.
We are here in Hungary, but besides Hungary, we are present also in Romania, Moldova, Croatia, Finland and Germany. We are interested primarily about the sea region, but not only, so we want also to build bridges between east and west. It's a little bit cliche, but everybody wants to build bridges, but so what we are doing, we are doing like meetups, events, projects, hackathons. We are doing a lot of these activities, and also we are trying a little bit in the region to create connections between the different countries. And soon, very soon, I think next month, 2 more chapters, 2 more countries and cities will be added. So we have 1 year, but we are developing quite okay. And before going to Revolut, I just want to really thank one of our partners who were with us in the beginning of this project, and I want to give them a little bit of time to present themselves. So I would like to invite the representative from CMS Law, Christina Reichmann, to tell a little bit what's the
impressed. I think we are lucky to have such a great audience. It's such a good vibe, and to be frank, I thought that everybody came for CMS, I mean not for Revolut, but I'm ready to share the good vibe and the discussion with Revolut and with the others. We have great panelists. Now about CMS, as you probably know, this is a fully fledged. We have a very strong international platform. We are very strong in CE. And the reason why we are supporting, and actually I think you can feel the good synergies with the FinCom and all the other panelists and supporters of this event, is because we are not bringing only, the legal angle, which is alliances, partnerships in this growing ecosystem.
So, kick off. Everybody is eager to hear the Revolut.
Yep, so I'm very pleased to announce Andres Caseca from Revolut, the challenger bank that grew from 700,000 users last year to 3 million this year. Here he is.
It's 3 years.
Budapest has been one of my 3 most favorite cities in Europe. Until today. I'm Andres. I'm with Revolut for 2 years already, out of 3.5. And 2 years is quite a long time at Revolut. Let's start with a simple one. Let's start. How many of you don't have Revolut? Just raise your hand if you don't have Revolut. Nice. Some nice number of clients. After the presentation, and after bankers, they also like, oh, but we are profitable. Yeah. But when you realize how it's done, right? How Ubers are done of this world and so on. This is the way business is done, right? This is why you attract the money to build a global solution which can disrupt everything and scale, and in the end be 1,000 times more profitable than any bank.
Head of innovation from Erste Group, Boris Mate, why the banks will remain and stay and how they are adapting to all these new changes that are coming. Boris?
I don't want to talk about now our proposition because I think this would be boring. Basically, as the group has moved into digital with a digital proposition, we're here for everybody. And building a digital solution for everybody is a completely different challenge than having, a small portion of hipsters who need a Revolut app. It's very easy to build an app, to have an account. What's the revolutionary aspect behind an account? I don't know. To give a card and then tell you, this is for free. You would take it, right? The difference, what we have to work on, what our innovation team has to work on is, how do I get the full scope of the money life of a person into the same convenience and into the same quality of experience as our challenges do too. Because we think that's probably the more sustainable concept. So, as you see, all my messages here is not that these guys are not great. They're fantastic. We in our innovation team call them, they're a bit like our R&D department because there's lots to learn. But at the end of the day, we have to fulfill a different challenge. We have to think differently than they do, and we have to work differently than they do, because our goal is not to attract 0.01% market share with hipsters all around the world, but we would like to be a platform where you can improve your money life with all kind of the data science we have built in behind to make this possible. So something like, well, we love the expression, something like a digital autopilot, right? You can trust. There's some decisions you can steer, of course, the platform, but it will help you to take the right decisions in life.
If you basically comply with the law in what it tells you to do, and you call that collaboration, is it really collaboration? Or is it
for the banks that are of the right size and they think that's where the opportunity is, they will go for it. Maybe some large banks will close their doors. They don't want to open themselves up to open banking, but eventually open banking will, I think, take over. So I think to the first question, I think it's still a window dressing, but open banking will bring the real.
I think those fintechs who have a great idea and find investors who pour money into it like hell don't need a bank. So why should they collaborate? A fintech who has a great idea but doesn't find an investor who pours money into it because they probably are ready for collaboration because they need traction to find out how their idea works. Fintechs who have bad ideas are good partners for banks.
PCI DSS standard is much more strict than the GDPR. So I think fintech companies has to learn security, but first starting with the GDPR is a good start for security and cybersecurity questions. And second, what they can learn from banks is communication.
And I'm going to wrap it up, being cautious of the time, with one last question. If you had a one-liner advice for people out there that are watching, fintechs or incumbents, on what they can do to make the collaboration more effective, what would that be?
My first word is communication for fintechs and flexibility for the banks.
That, of course, every fintech's dream would be to work with all of the banks, and because the money is there. Right?
So what do you think from the digital transformation, which is the biggest point which has held back the banks to not do it or do it that slow as it's going today? Or a legal issue or more than that?
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm very happy to bring this legal angle to the discussion, but I would also want to broaden the perspective perspective and also speak from our experience as the facilitator again in the ecosystem. Because to me, helping incumbents, and we are doing this on a regular basis with a comprehensive proposition of finance and tech lawyers across Europe, across CE and also internationally. What is really that element of novelty and of evolution is actually this concept of ecosystem.
Please, just one word. Alex Panican from Luxembourg.
It's working together with the Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Finance, the regulator. From time to time on Friday, the regulator brings us croissant. So fintechs coming from Japan are very surprised that the regulator brings croissant to fintechs, but it happens, and it happens in Luxembourg. On stage. Please, come on. What do you think is the main key for your success? And if you can also share some challenges, because everybody's speaking just about the good side, but can you talk a bit about the challenges and how you overcome them?
TransferWise is a money transfer company. We had very humble beginnings. So the beginning was that our co-founders, Christo and Tavit, both Estonians, they wanted to exchange money, and they figured out that banks were basically ripping them off. And then they figured out a way in which they could just exchange money at the mid-market rate and save money. And that is how TransferWise started.
Next to their existing banking operations, they're launching a completely new 100% cloud or 100% online, where they will need quick time to market. They will need systems that enable them to really quickly adjust to whatever is happening.
We focus on your consumption habit. We focus on where do you spend your money actually, and we're trying to work with you.
I don't know, entrepreneur, and I have an idea for 10,000 euro. Can I do the crowdfunding on your platform?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So there is no minimum.
Well, together we started like few months ago, and actually we wanted to do like a cool fun project. We ended up with almost 300 people. I think it's fun. It's not anymore a side project.
No, and it kind of grew out of hand, so we're very happy that you're also interested in this topic that we're going to present. I know a lot of you actually are. We travel around a lot to different conferences, and at most conferences you kind of hear the same stories like, oh, look at how great my company is, or look at what kind of product my fintech is developing. And I thought, hey, that's a little bit boring, because right now in the financial industry, a lot of interesting things are happening. We have the incumbent banks who realize that they really need to transform to gain the competitive edge, while challenger banks such as Revolut are gaining quick market share. On the other hand, fintechs, such as the one that I work for, WAP, is in the middle of this zone, and we need to collaborate with banks, which is often the difficult one. So we thought, why not put all of these players? Give a big shout out to some of our partners here today. Without them, it could have not been possible to do this.
So the partners who support with us Budapest Institute of Banking, KPMG, and we have some media